Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. On the show for you guys today, we are going to talk about what a day we had yesterday in the solar sector. Maybe had to do with the eclipse. I suspect people took that as a chance to look at their portfolios, saw how well they were doing, and hit the sell now button on their solar investments. So we'll talk about that. Got some earnings to discuss as well. Toll Brothers, DSW, Momo, just to name a few. There are a couple more that I missed. Snapchat ended its 5-day winning streak, and we'll take your questions in the chat as always. Our guest today will be Nick Shaheen at 835. He's an options expert. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads on MarketFi. Joel, what's up in the markets?
Got a little Trump bump overnight. Opened up flat, had a nice little rally to 37.25, but that's just shy of the number I'm looking at on the upside. The number I'm concerned about is Friday's high at 39.50. That's also your weekly pivot. So not getting super bullish until we take that out. On the downside, holding that close area, still 5 points above it. So until we go red, I'm not going to be thinking about anything on the bearish side. Crude quiet here. Up only a penny, 60-cent range. This thing is just bouncing around. Let's see if we can look at the dailies and find some good support or resistance in the crude oil market. 49. That looks like the big level on the upside, but we're $1.60 away. And gold just up and under 1,300, down 550 at 1291.20. Silver hanging right at $17. Good morning, Dennis. We are running ahead of schedule. How you doing?
You guys are fast here this morning in a fast market.
Yeah, fast.
Big rally in the S&Ps. What are we up? 5 points?
Yeah, 4.5, 5. You know when they used to use the fast market sign in the pits?
When
they didn't know what the hell was going on.
It wasn't a fast market sign where somebody would just hold it up?
Yeah, there was a guy in a big tower that went over the S&P pit because there was like 500, traders in there, and they had people with walkie-talkies that were calling in the last price. And then sometimes, one side of the pit would be traded one handle and the other side of the pit would be traded a different handle. And the guys that were in charge of knowing where the market go didn't know. So they just put fast on the board. Fast, fast, fast. And then they only gave the last print until they could actually figure out where the market is.
What kind of movement would it take, you think, to see the fast market sign? Like how many S&P, what's your volatility looking like? Are we chopping around with VIX up at 25 and S&P futures is flying this way, that way? What would it take to get into a fast market? How many handles movements in 5 minutes?
Well, put it this way, Dennis. The big contract used to trade in nickels. Yeah, so it would be 05, 10, 10, 15. So you'd have to go through all those in order to move 1 point. So then when it would get a little bit hairy, it would start moving in half a points. And then when it got super hairy, then it would move in points. And now it moves a point, it only moves in quarter point increments. So it'd be moving. It moves 3 points
sometimes in hours.
Exactly. But then when it was moving in handles, but now, you can blink an eye and lose a handle on an S&P trade.
Yeah. Well, but one handle now also we're at 2,400. And when you were in the pits, what were we at? 100?
Couple hundreds. Yeah.
What were we at when you were in the pits?
200-300. I can remember.
300. So a 3 point move is 1%. A 1 point move is 0.75% or a third of a percent. Now we got to go, 8 handles to go a third of a percent. It's a big difference.
Yeah, I can remember, you remember your good trades and your bad trades. I can remember this was an expiration. I don't know how long ago. And I was playing it conservative. I was long the 230, 235 call spread. And I'm thinking, man, just get above 230. And the market showed a little weakness. So I bailed out of that and bought the 230 puts, and market's never looked back ever since.
That was it. That was the markets went up for 30 years.
Been trying to short it ever since, but
I've been trying to short it ever since. Nice. All right, let's talk here this morning. Fuzzy bringing up a good point here right in the chat. Macy's, all Kramer this morning. You know what? Mostly Kramer, I will say. They actually did steal an exec from eBay. So there was a headline, and that kind of gave it a lift, but then Kramer was pumping this last night. He's saying the stock is cheap. And we know a lot of people like to listen to Jim Cramer, and that's what it needed. It needed somebody to come in and defend it. And, Jim Cramer, all the retail traders saying, whoa, Jim likes this. Let's go buy it this morning. And Macy's, big pop, 3% here this morning up. Wow, what's going on?
Will it hold, though, is what we want to know.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's so beat up, though. It's been so down. It needs a relief rally. And that's all this will be. I'm not saying this is the new Macy's and this thing's, going to $30 here, but it needs a relief rally. It needs to close over 20 is what it really needs. So it's over 20 right now, 20.05. Can it hold is a good question. Obviously, I think it can. I think there's a lot of people that actually wanted to come in here and wanted an excuse to come in here and try to pick the bottom Macy's. Kramer obviously is the one that's trying to do it. So I think there's a chance this could hold a bit, but you're right. Every retail rally has been met with so many sellers. I mean, we saw it in the gap just off their earnings report there 3 days ago, when it gapped up to over $26 after hours on that Thursday night, and it gave it all back by the next morning. And obviously, it's down since then, 22.57 on the chart. You won't even see it above 24 because it never traded above 24 in the regular session. Urban Outfitters has almost given a lot of it back, at least two-thirds of the gain.
Yep.
That was like a 20% gain for that one too. Same story there. So I don't know. What do you think of Macy's here? I mean, the dividend is now 7.5%. If you think the dividend is safe, do you think the company is going to survive?
7.5%.
Amazon out of existence.
7.5%. That's tasty, man. So that gives you not quite
Is
2
it safe though?
Yeah. Because could you imagine they cut the dividend? This thing would be at like $15. You saw what happened to it.
Well, yeah, probably
not 15, but
maybe not 15, but it'd lose a buck or two in a hurry if they cut that.
What if they do a Teva? If they cut the dividend, they do it. Look at Teva. Oh my Lord, 16.
It just can't find a bottom. It's sitting here too and ready to go down more.
I'll take 18. You can have 16.
Oh man,
Crickets.
You know what?
Yeah, wait.
So 17-12. You're giving. Look at this. It's 17-12. So it would be 16-12 versus 18-12 to be fair.
Yep.
I'll do that.
Okay.
We got a lunch bet, folks. Look
finally,
at this early in the morning. 7 in the morning. Joel's got one. I'm taking 16-12 on Teva, going with the trend. Joel, the contrarian blood in him, is still fighting the trend. He's saying 18-12.
Yeah,
so,
too bad you didn't.
I think it's heavy here. I think the stock wants to go down more. I think it's consolidation to go lower.
No, I think it's
people
finally
consolidation and say, "Oh, it's finding a bottom." I say it's just pausing here, taking a breather before the next sellers come in.
No, you know what? You know what I call this formation? Seller exhaustion. They're just so tired of selling this thing.
They're so tired of selling. I call it buy dipper. It's going to be exhaustion when the sellers overwhelm them in the next couple of days. So
can we go?
I got a bet.
Can we go two lunches on this one? Because
one lunch.
1, 2, 3.
How many lunches do you owe me now?
You know we're even. So I'm not.
No, I don't think
you're not even going to address that.
You owe me 2 steak dinners.
I do owe you 2 steak dinners.
Okay. Anyways. Let's get to so we haven't even covered any of these earnings stocks here, but Teva looks good. Macy's, or Teva looks good for Joel. Looks good for me on the bet, I think, because I think it's going down.
All right, I got to put this.
Jumping back to this Macy's parade, though, and just to say, okay, so we got a 3% pop off, mostly Kramer. I agree, Fuzzy. It is mostly Kramer here this morning, even though they got that exec, and even the media will probably credit the 3% move with the executive. It was off Kramer last night. If you were watching Mad Money, that's when it took off. It actually took off before Mad Money started because they said that Kramer was going to talk about it, and then it blasted off into orbit. So a lot of people follow Kramer's lead. Macy's is one of them. What do you think? Do you think if Macy's does hold, let's just say, this is just scenario analysis. Let's say it holds. Do you think it could help like the stocks like Kohl's, the sympathy, Nordstrom? Could it kickstart the Dillards? I mean, all these stocks have been in a world of hurt. Is this what they needed? Did they need a little bit of Kramer love?
This certainly could. I mean, you don't know how it's going to, turn out for these other stocks. We're primarily through most of the earnings season. I mean, we'll just talk Macy's today because that has the news, and I'm going to go with 2013. That's right around the 20 even number. 2013 is your 3-day high. I think if you get through there, you could see some trading in the upper 20 handle because there's really nothing between 2013 and 2079. So I think even like longer term, like you're using 20 here, until this thing closed above 21, then I'm not having an interest in it on the long side. If it did close above 21, I could get 21 as the price, and I would just use the low of the move, 1935, as a stop out point. But challenging the 3-day high as we speak at 2013.
Let's jump over to the earnings parade here. Spinner talking about DSW, and yes, they are jamming this down the short's throat here this morning. It had been selling off in sympathy with Foot Locker for the better part of at least a week, and now it comes out with some numbers. Spencer, they must not have been that bad.
Nope, 38 cents versus a 29-cent estimate. Sales of 680.4 million versus 666.1 million. So a beat on the sales and a beat on the EPS for the second quarter.
It's a big pop. It's up 15%. It is a retailer. We know retailer pops have been met with lots of sellers, lots of overhead supply in here. I don't know if it's going to just roll right over here, but I think when I look at this chart in a couple of weeks, I think it's going to be lower than here. Joel, your thoughts?
Holding 18 off the open, your pre-market highs just above 18 at 18.28. You had a high right at the $18 level at 18.06, which is back on August 10th. So, yeah, holding 18, I got a chance. A lot of room from 18 up to 18.81. That was your August 9th high. But if it doesn't hold 18, I look for it to back and fill. I mean, after all, you made the low of the move yesterday at 15.14. If you bought that thing on the cheap yesterday into the report, you're probably rigging the register here at $18.
23,000 shares already traded. So a little bit of volume here as well, but it's a nice relief pop for everybody who's been along all these shoe stores. And I know, who is it that made a good trade there? I was saying in the chat, it's just on Foot Locker, just giving props here. John Dodson had a nice trade in Foot Locker, so congrats on that as well. So jumping over back to the earnings parade here, we had some interesting movers here. I want to go to the Chinese stock, Momo. MOMO, because this stock is wild here this morning. I got the top, and now it is getting a significant drop here. Spencer, the numbers are always confusing. Is this in yuan, or do they have it in US dollars? How are the numbers?
Yeah, I do have it in US dollars. 35 cents versus a 31-cent estimate. Revenue 312.22 million versus 286.3 million. So a nice beat on the revenue and a beat as well on the EPS. This is, I believe, isn't this like the Tinder or the match of China? I'm pretty sure that's what that's.
Find out, Spencer. I have no idea. I think with all the China stocks.
They're like the Match.com or like the Match, the ticker MTCH of China.
Okay, so Joel, tell us about the pre-market action.
57, 47, 51. That was your
2.5 point pop.
Yeah,
right on
2.5 point pop. That eclipsed a former all-time high, 46.69. So if you were holding that as a level, you got a good trade off there. Now your pre-market low, interestingly, it's right at, let's see, your pre-market low is 40.57. And you have a low at $40. Where is it? You have a couple lows at 40.03, 40.28.
Big number,
yeah, $40. I mean, better place to cover a short if you have it. Always trying along. Always tricky in this kind of market, especially, when you think like, oh, this is cheap. I got to own this at $40. Look at the weekly here, right? Beginning of the year, the stock was at 17.5. So it's over a double. Yeah. I wouldn't be in love with that.
I mean, the buy the dippers are all there licking their chops because this has been one hot stock, and every time the hot stocks pull back, they seem to be an opportunity. But if we take any notes from like Nvidia, not that this has anything to do with it, but we're just talking, the stock's been really hot this year. When they do disappoint, or when the street perceives it as a disappointment, it sometimes takes a couple days for them to bounce out of it. So I don't know if I'm coming here buying in the open either. I think, it could have some bounces in there. But I think I'd wait for the dust to settle a little bit on this. I mean, there's, you could say 40, but, 36 is really where I see the major support. That's a lot lower. So I don't know if I'm coming in here at 40, where's my out? That's my question. Because, really, you traded between May and July a whole pile between 36 and 40. So I just don't know if 40 is an out. And I like to have an out before like with my trading.
You'd be out at 39.95, Dennis. You'd be out at 39.95.
Well, probably, and I'd get shaken out. So that's why I got to wait till the dust settles on this. But that's the whole thing. You can always have, and I always say this, and I would just keep trying to stress this as much as I can on the show.
Sure.
Is you can put on any trade. You can trade anything as long as you know where your out is. It's the traders who put on a trade and then the trade doesn't work out for whatever reason, and then they start holding it. And then they start hoping it comes back. But when I always say when you're in the hope trade, you're in the hopeless trade, and that is how you lose a hell of a lot of money. So you gotta have an out. You can put on any trade. JC Peret's been on here saying it too. Put on anything. If you have a reason, you like the 40 level, you can put on. Just know where your out is. Say, I'm gonna risk 50 cents or I'm gonna risk $1, but at least try to set up at least a 2-to-1 risk reward, and that'll keep you in the game. And that's the whole thing, is staying in the game.
S&P futures up 5.75, 33.75 your last print. That pre-market high 37.25. That's going to be a good level today. We'll keep an eye on that.
Jumping and continuing on with our earnings parade here. Toll Brothers, the home builder, TOL, is trading down on their numbers. Spencer, details.
Yep. Q3 EPS 87 cents versus a 69-cent estimate. Nice number there. Revenue of 1.502 bill versus 1.51. So a slight miss on the revenue there for Q3. So a mixed report.
They're hitting it a little bit here. They've been hitting I remember even last quarter, they were hitting the home builders, even on okay numbers here. So it's funny, how sometimes these trends just be pesky, even from quarter to quarter, that, numbers can sometimes be okay out of these things. And they still find a reason to sell them. So, putting it in perspective though, Toll Brothers had a pretty good year as well. I mean, this stock started the year in 2017, down around $32. We're up at 38. So that's a big move for, a big home builder. I think Toll's one of the biggest. So give back a little bit here this morning. Am I concerned throwing in the towel on this? I mean, is a little start of a downtrend, which is somewhat concerning. So the upper trend, the uptrend might be a little bit broken here, which is somewhat concerning. And now is it starting a new downtrend? Maybe. So maybe I'm more of a seller of the rips and the buy the dips.
Yeah, if you could get back up to that $38 level, that had been holding as support for a better part of 2 months. Yesterday's low 37.98. Previous day's low 38.13. So if you could get back there, that anywhere at 37.90, 37.95, I think you got a lower risk short. Coming on the downside, you did that 38. You did take out a critical support level. Not a lot in here in that 30. I guess there's a couple lows just before 38. So give it a little bit more room. Where did those other lows come in at? They all came 38.70 area. And you got to also take into effect that or 38.70. Yeah, we are below that. I'm sorry. Let me give you another level there. 36.70. So you got to take that into account. Big move, 76 cents on only 12,200 shares. It's going to take a lot more than that to move it during the regular session.
JA Solar, JASO, getting a nice lift here. This is a nice relief pop too after yesterday on all of the solar stocks, although JA Solar didn't sell off. The other one's dead. My Canadian solar got killed yesterday. I knew I should have sold it at the open when it was trading around 16. It's down to 14.99. I've given back a lot of the games. Black UK was just saying I tend to hold on to my winners too long and let them go back to scratch. Well, that's what I'm doing here in Canadian solar. I bought this in the 13s, watched it go to 18. 17, 16, now it's coming back down and I'm not up much at all. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Okay, let's send to Gordo on this one. I haven't heard much from him. I know that decision is coming. So I was trying to hold on there, but this is a Gordo trade. Anyways, First Solar got hit yesterday too. We were saying in the pre-market that they looked heavy and the charts were starting to look broken. Well, they hit them hard yesterday, First Solar and Canadian Solar. JASO now gets a pop. So it's a little different chart and it's kind of doing its own thing. I mean, it wasn't running when the other ones were running. And it wasn't selling off when the other ones were selling off. This kind of just does its own thing.
The numbers, EPS 42 cents. I wouldn't compare that to the 3-cent estimate. Sales of 878 for $602 million. And as far as Q3 cell and module shipments, I see that being between 16 to 1,700 megawatts. Just from some perspective on that. For the prior quarter, it was 1,550 to 1,650. So they're seeing more megawatt shipments this quarter than last quarter.
After yesterday, though, in solar, I'm not buying another solar stock when it rallies 7% of their numbers. So this one, I would actually lean to fading this rally.
And Dennis, not to rub salt in the wound. But Gordon's target was $17 on that CSI.
On Canadian Solar? No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
He raised her up to 37.
He did?
Yeah, he did. Spencer checked that. He raised it way up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he raised it.
Grab
I'll
it.
check.
It was
I'll
originally.
check.
He raised
Okay.
it way up because of this decision that's coming. So I think
Okay, I thought it was 17.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was. I thought he said something about the 30s. So Spencer, check out Gordon Johnson's target on Canadian Solar. I need to know this for myself too.
JA Solar.
Oh, wait, on CSIQ we're talking about?
CSIQ.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second.
Spencer's going digging. He's going to find that for
You
us.
should
Give
see-
us the technicals here on JAO. So
You should see him ripping through this pro here. We should have this live on the screen.
Spencer's good, man. He's good on that pro.
Yep, he's improved a lot.
wait.
Pre-market high is 6.71. Man, this is kind of a tough area, like as Dennis said, to be buying into because you had multiple highs just above 660, 670. I mean, if 680, $7. I mean, if this thing gets really going, maybe 7, but just too many highs in this area for me to be hopping on it. Of course, if it gets and holds there, $7 could be a target. Coming back on the downside in JASO.
You know what it was?
What?
The price target's 18. I
Yeah.
have it here. He was saying if they win this decision, he was giving a scenario analysis, and that's when he threw out the 30s. If this decision's coming, I believe in September for all the solar companies, he said this could be worth $37. It was 30 something, and that's why I was like, ooh.
And that decision is September, but it could take, I think he said another 3 to 4 months for that to be reflected in the stock. But yes, so
he was saying it's upper side. Did you read the actual?
Yeah, so you're both right. It was an $18 price target, but if this decision is favorable for CSIQ, then he sees mid-30s.
There you go. That's what I was looking at. But look at Gordon. I should have just been taking his $18 price target because it got there twice, and that's where it topped out.
No.
This market listens to Gordon. I should have not read the stuff, just taken at face value of the 18 that he put on, because we know everybody just reads the headlines and they don't dig into the actual analysis. So they just see, $18 price target, and that's it. So
you got trades off. You did a Tim.
I've been getting hit on this, not taking the profits. I guess I got to just stop investing, and stop going longer term and start actually looking at that investment portfolio a little bit more and taking those things when they pop on for me 50% in a couple of months. I got to take those profits.
You've got a couple good trades off our guest, right? You bought one bank stock off Tim Melvin. Remember that?
That was Bank of California. That was a good one. I bought that at 11 off of Tim Melvin. I sold like 20. That was a good one.
And then
come back in. I might rebuy that eventually.
What's the symbol on that?
BANC.
BANC. And then
boy.
And then Michael Pachter talked you into a trade too.
That was that was a good one too. I mean, you get some good shows out for analysts. That was with the Candy Crush game, King, when it was out there, KING.
That's right.
And it got taken out.
Yep.
So I ended up making $3 or $4 on that one too. That was a good one too.
Have you ever lost?
I bought like 14 or something and sold it 17 or 18 or something. I can't remember actual numbers, but I was a good one too.
Is your mom still playing a lot of that Candy Crush, or she give it up?
Oh, my mom's she's right at the top of it. She's waits every week. It comes out, I guess, every other week or something, or every week they come out with 10 or 20 new levels or something, and she beats them all in like a couple hours, and then she has to sit there and wait a week. I think Michael Pachter and her are right at the top always, waiting for the new levels to come out. She sits there and she'll just play it nonstop until it's nice to be retired, eh? So you sit there and play Candy Crush all day.
Momo is continuing lower. I think Ace may try and put a bottom in here at $40, 40.21 low, 40.24, 40.21. Man, a lot of red. There's eventually have to be a green bar in this, right, Dennis? Eventually. Sometime, right?
That's what they say, and then you get those ones. It's like roulette. Remember the roulette wheel? It goes red or black, comes up 48.6 because the green's in there. But there's a streak, and actually we should just Google that right now. A streak of reds, and the max. Okay, I gotta go Google this. Maybe Google's always good. So maximum streak red roulette. Let's find out if I can find it quickly. How many there's been? What is the longest streak of one color in roulette? Longest streak of this right from Google. Awesome how Google does this. It just doesn't even give you a link. It just tells you the answer. The longest recorded streak of one color in roulette in American casino history happened in 1943 when the color red won 32 consecutive times. 32 on a coin flip, basically. 32 consecutive times comes out red. So, obviously we're just saying, trends are pesky and everything, but they can go along for a long time. 32 times.
What about Foot Locker, Dennis? I know you could have won a lunch yesterday. I mean, is this thing finally finding a bottom? Is it finally?
I don't know. You know what? I'm not jumping in here. Well, same story as yesterday. Is it going to bounce here today? Maybe. Macy's is lifting. Maybe the retailers lift here. There's more of a reason to try to say it's going to bottom today because the Kramer defending one of the biggest, dogs of the retail sector out there. I think that could spill over into some bottom fishing into some other ones. So there's more of an excuse today, I think, than yesterday. But that being said, let's wait till we get a green candle or something before jumping in. I mean, you can time it. There's always going to be little pops. There was little pops yesterday, and John Dodson took advantage of that. But that being said, you're coming in here and you're buying it, yesterday or on the earnings lows at 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31. I mean, it still is it's still digesting the report.
All right. I just, I look at a lot of charts all the time, but look at this, Dennis, in the lower $31 handle. Now, you don't stop. Let's see here. This is back in 2012, November low 31.13, December low 31.07, and then you had a 31.12 low in January of 2013. Then you came back and made two more monthly lows in March and April in the lower 31 handle. So, I mean, you don't come down and trade that much stock for that many months and have that big of a rally when it comes back down to it. I mean, okay, maybe not trying along, but that anything under 31, 31.50, I'll call it. I think you'll see some support
starting to thicken up there.
It is. It really does. You gotta take notice when you see all these candles in the same area. And this is not one of my 15-minute charts here. This is a monthly chart here. So looking at monthly support.
Do you like this 31 level better than like the 34 level yesterday?
Yeah.
Because you were trying to talk me to that 34 yesterday.
It was a setup. It was a trade. But once it took out the low from the previous day, that setup was no longer valid. And I
always just say that when the stock's making new lows, you got to go. I would use the previous day 31.72. It starts taking that out. I don't want any part of it again. So I don't want stocks in my trading portfolio or my investment portfolio that are making new lows on the move. Not long anyways. I'd rather be short those stocks.
All right. S&P futures holding up 34.5, up 6.5 points.
Okay, ratings parade here. There's a few to talk about. Go to Alibaba, the unbelievable stock that it is trying to get back up to those highs once again, actually very close to those highs. I don't know. Did it make new highs yesterday? Yes, it did. Made new all-time highs yesterday. Alibaba is a monster here once again. Getting upgraded by Atlantic to overweight. Price target $215. Like we were saying, out of all the Momo stocks, saying the Nvidias and the Amazons and the Googles and all your other ones you want to talk about, I like Alibaba the best. I still like Alibaba the best. We've said that since they did the gap up, the gap and go back from 135. We've liked this stock. I continue to like this stock.
Right, and didn't give you any opportunity to buy it on the gap fill. I don't know, pretty brave upgrading it here, but that's what our analyst is doing. Boom, 170.65 is where you're currently trading. Yesterday's high right there at 170.60. So there's your bogey if you want to try and sell the all-time high right there, 170.60. Coming back on the downside, what was the close yesterday? All-time, if you want to give it a little room, 169.25. That was the all-time closing high. And you have had, four all-time closing highs in a row and four all-time highs in a row. So nice streak here for Alibaba.
And also from the ratings parade, there's quite a few here this morning, interesting ones. VMware catching upgrade from Deutsche Bank, VMW here. That is trading up about $2 in the pre-market. It's run to a big psychological level, though. $100, I think, is going to be big on this. It hasn't traded it. Actually, I'm just trying to go to the monthlies. It hasn't traded up over $100 since 2014. So I got to think there's going to be some size kicking around. I even got to go look at the book. Let me go look at the book. I can't see that far in the book. There's too many levels already, but I think there's going to be some size up there at $100. Cash and upgrade Deutsche Bank.
Boy, oh boy, you have very well-defined resistance here. You are trading up $2 here at 99.01, but you have we've taken out the 98 even and the 98.20 double top. Wow, and it also stalled at 98 even on June 1st. So
it's 98's gone.
98's
this is upgraded from Deutsche Bank to, is it buy, Spencer? Is it a buy?
Yes, it is an upgrade.
Yeah, that's going to open way above.
Upgrade from hold to buy.
All right.
That's a big upgrade. Deutsche Bank is very influential.
What
That's
if-
going to open up over 98, way over the 98. It's already bid 99. I think it's going to challenge $100 today. It's a matter of whether I think it might stall at 100. Like I think it might, it could even do the one thing, like just take it out and then turn around and come down. I think it's going to stall up near the $100 level today.
Haven't been in triple digits since 3 years ago in August of 2014. You had a 103.86 high. So if you want to go back on your dailies, go back 3 years. I'm sure you can find some intermediate levels in between there. But 103.86 is the best number I can come up with. Your August 2014 high.
Jumping over to ARNC, that's catching an upgrade at Longbow here today. I do have ARNC in my investment portfolio. That is the old Alcoa, and it is trading up about 1.5% here in the pre-market.
$26? Nah, not even trading up. That's up, trading up 38 cents. One little high at 24. Well, actually, two highs at 24.65 and 78. We've taken that out. Maybe a little target, 25.03. That's your August 9th high, and then really opens up to the 25.5 level after that. Three highs between 25.48, 25.56 earlier in the month.
And then Tempur-Pedic, TPX, getting upgraded at Stifel. Price target $80 on this one. It's been coming back. I mean, here's one of your mattress companies not falling flat anymore. It was getting hit early 2017. Started the year around $45, up at 61. Now trading, well, actually not trading this morning, but bid 62.37. Stifel very influential as well. We've got to do that ranking of the brokers, but I'll put Stifel up there too because they always are very influential in their reports.
You say Stifel, I say Stifle.
Pretty sure it's Stifel. Spencer, give us verification on this. I'm pretty sure it's Stifel.
I've always
Brent
knows.
Brent, Stifel or Stifel?
I've always heard Stifel. It's
Stifel.
It's Stifel.
All right.
I know it'd make more sense if it's an E, but it's spelled Stifle, but they do pronounce it Stifel.
I mean, can you buy a mattress over the internet?
I would think
okay,
so. But maybe that's something you want to go lay on, though, right?
Listen. I just bought a bed on Saturday, and I didn't do it on Amazon. I can tell you that. Okay.
So it's Amazon proof.
So Amazon proof.
It might be.
You know what?
I wouldn't want to buy a bed on Amazon unless you knew the bed and then you just went to Amazon.
Listen, I was gonna say I got a good deal, but I could have price matched, I suppose, on Amazon. I didn't, but I guess I could have. But,
yeah, because I just think about, I don't want to lay on the bed. I don't want to feel the bed. I wouldn't just want to say, oh, that looks like a nice bed. I'm going to buy that bed. You don't know the bed unless you lay on it. And even when you lay on it, I've got, my back's been sore. I got to get a new bed here. I got this bed, and it was really awesome for a while. And for whatever reason, it's one of those like pillow tops, but it's like not with springs. What's the new thing that they put in all the mattresses? It's not springs a lot of them anymore. It's memory foam. Memory foam.
Yeah.
Anyways, after like 3 years, the memory foam has like sagged in places. So now I sit on it's all lumpy and stuff. And every time I wake up in the morning, my back hurts. So when I throw my back, I'm still blaming my bed for it. So anyways, I'm talking to the mattress company right now. I don't want to trash talk them, the mattress company, because I'm actually talking with them. And they have a 10-year guarantee. So they're making me send all these measurements of how much it is. And they're going to try to get me some money back for this mattress that I'm going to try to return. But it's this memory foam, and it's like sagged over 1.5 inches in some places.
Have you gained a lot of weight?
No, come on. I'm already gaining a little bit of weight. Yeah, I'm not a lightweight, but anyways, still.
Back to
TPX, I was going to say, is only Amazon proof until Amazon dumps all their mattresses in their Whole Foods locations, and then you can go to Whole Foods to buy a mattress. And then
stores are going to sell
then it's not so Amazon proof anymore.
Yeah, nothing's Amazon proof once they start selling the physical stuff in the stores.
Is this
like we were saying? Everything is just going to be Amazon eventually. You're just going to buy everything from Amazon.
Dennis, are you seeing it? Is this thing bid up or not? Is there anything going on?
Oh yeah, it's bid up. Oh, for sure. Stifel's it's going to be bid up. 62.60.
Ooh.
Like a Stifel upgrade to buy on an $80 price target, that's worth 2-3% for fun.
62.
So
62.
It's bid 62.60. Nobody's hitting that bid. So that's telling you it wants to go higher. You just got to. When you see an upgrade right away, you got to say who did it, and then you say, okay, well, I don't care what the chart looks like. I don't care any of that. What I care is, this is an upgrade out of the blue. So this isn't something after an earnings report. When he goes, those analysts chasing price, those aren't that influential. The ones out of the blue will move stocks, especially coming from Stifel. This will move the stock a couple bucks today, I bet.
All right. You have a high at 62.95, which Dennis is thinking is going to get taken out right away. August 14th high. And then the reason
I think it opens. Let me look at the book before I predict the open. But I would say it opens probably. I'm looking at the book right now to see if there's anything in there. There is a little bit of size at 63, 13,000 shares. That could possibly stall the open, but that's not that much. So I think it opens probably at 63. That's what I'm calling a 63 open. Look at this. I'm calling the open again on the show. I'm calling an open of 63 or above 63.
You're pretty good at the opens. I'm not going to mess with you on that one. The highest level, I'll give you one number only. The highest level this has been since it had this big gap down day, or I don't know if that was a reorg or what, but if you're looking for a target on the upside, your July 27th high was 63.98. So there could be a potential target. Are we going to bring Nick in on the fly here as you are typing away? Nick Shaheen, he's our Tuesday guest. Is he our only regular guest that we have? Does he know that?
At the moment, yes.
I know that. I sure know that. What do I know?
That you are the only regular guest on Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep show.
Damn.
And the reason is because...
And one of our original, too.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick, how long have you been coming on?
How long have you been with us, Nick?
I don't know. 2012?
Too long. Too long.
How long?
Oh, my gosh.
It's been a few years now.
Yeah.
I think did Bree find him, or he was on from Market 5?
Nick was on Market 5. Yeah. Nick still is on Market 5.
Hey, Nick, how you doing today?
Doing great. And yourselves?
Actually, I'm really excited. I'm going to go watch this the eclipse today.
Yeah, you're about 24 hours too late.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch it?
I watched it on TV.
You didn't go outside?
I looked outside. And I couldn't find my glasses. So
were you in a path of where it was close? How much percentage?
Partial.
We had partial up here too. Partial wasn't very good. I was expecting it darker and stuff, and we were 70% where we were, and it was disappointing. It
didn't get dark. I can tell you that.
It didn't. It looked like maybe a cloud went over the sky.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, like on TV, like where they were full. That was cool when it was going just pitch black.
Someone said, can you imagine in the olden days where they had no idea what that was, and then suddenly the sun goes away, everything gets whacked out, the nocturnal animals.
Okay, and we're going on a tangent here, but here's my question. How was everybody not blind in the olden days before they knew what was going on? Because if you saw the sun, all of a sudden getting covered up, you'd think the end of the world is coming, and you're probably running out and staring at the thing for hours.
I think it's
everybody in the olden days not blind?
Temporary blindness.
I think our eyes are programmed to, if you see a big flashing light, you're going to close your eyes. So I'm not too sure that the disclosures were more of lawyer talk than actual, how many people did stare at the sun and got blind without listening to one of these warnings,
Yeah.
It's our natural instinct to shy away from bright light and close our eyes when something comes near our eyes. So it's not like, it's a reflex. It's not something we think about.
All right, Nick, let's go overall market assessment here. We did have a breakdown to this area a couple of weeks ago, and we shot right out of it. This time, that Friday low, they took it out. They brought it back. Now we're firmly back in the 2430 handle. Doesn't seem like we're going to rip right back up we did last time. Just give us your technical outlook on the market.
Well, I think we had a little tizzy based on some headlines. The fear, I think, was I always say nothing's going to change. The behavior in stocks is not going to change for as long as the thesis remains the same. And it's the Trump trade, whether they want to admit it or not. Everything revolves around what this administration brings. And if you change that game, then, hey, maybe the prices will change. And that was in threat last week. Everybody... it seemed like there was going to be an exodus from the administration. And I think that's what scared us as traders. And people weren't selling because on the worst day, I think Snap was up 3 or 4%. So if perceived risky stock, not to call it junk, perceived risky stock is catching a bid, is there really fear in the market? I keep saying this, little signs that the selling is more profit taking than actually bears pressing the sell buttons or anything like that. It's like people have a lot of profits and they're recent profits, therefore they're going to sell first and ask questions later. So, and what I think what made it worse was, politicians always worry me. They always find a way to ruin things for us. And this time it was CEOs playing politicians, which is probably much worse than actual politicians. So, I didn't appreciate how they all came out and started, piling on and creating this sense that, oh my gosh, there's something huge changing. And so everybody was worried about it for a little bit. That's my perception. So as soon as this headline abates, then we go back to doing what we're doing is testing the all-time highs and seeing if you want to go through them. And then, so we have supports to look below, and I outlined a lot of lines. And now on the way up, I outlined the same lines we crossed on the way down, which we're at 24.33-ish area, 33.35. That's interesting to me. And then if we go through that, 40 to 43 is interesting to me. And then if we go through that, 52 will come into play if we want to go there. On the way down, everybody knows the levels. Whatever played a role on the way up will become something to debate on the way down.
Nick, what about these major momos here? I mean, I look at Amazon. This thing got way overdone when it got up to 1083. That was like upside capitulation when everybody just had to own it. It's been straight down ever since. Stock now trading at 950. Critical support level. I mean, we did take it out yesterday. We got down to 945, but at least closed over 950. And, Google as well. I mean, Google had the big pop-up, could not make a new high on the move when it just got up over 1,000. Now it's down here at 920. I mean, these are off over 10% from the highs here. Is this something, because every time you've bought pullbacks in these stocks, you've been rewarded. Is this another time to come in here and be buying the pullbacks, longer term in Amazon and Google? Or is this the start of something that might be a serious correction in these stocks?
But I just posted the Amazon chart, and much like all the FANGs and a lot of the Momo, a lot of the like IBB, IYT, those are, the sectors that always make the headlines. The biotechs and the transports, they're all technically vulnerable, and it all needed. And if we get another headline, they'll probably fulfill the technical downside. In Amazon's case, which would be 900 ish, the next battle zone. Not calling it to go there, but technically it's vulnerable to go there. I'm not a technician. I play one on your show. And this one, it's an easy behavior of
a
head and
technician
shoulders.
To me, with all these lines on this chart I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, but if you bring,
pretty technical.
If you bring a pure technician on here, he'd laugh it out. He goes, "Oh my God, you missed a point on this line, and you missed the point on that line." But the behavior is there; it's undeniable. So when you make three efforts, the middle of which is the strongest, and you come back to the same neckline, if you lose that neckline, the bear will prevail and overshoot downwards. So that's basically head and shoulders in plain simple English. So the technical vulnerability is definitely there. But I think for it to fulfill down there, something is going to get it there. So it's going to be a headline of sorts. I like Amazon. It's over 200 PE, I think, last time I checked. So that's something to be worried about. But if I short it,
you care about PEs on these stocks? Market
I do.
I do too. That's why I don't own it. But I mean, the market never seems to care.
The way I care about it is just from a relativity perspective. So if I'm looking at a 200 PE there and a 475 on CRM, it tells me that it's just relative to the other stuff that I could buy for that kind of money and what the reward was. So with Amazon's sake, there came a point recently where everybody believes in Amazon suddenly now, how it's going to overtake the world. Well, they have competitors too. So it's not like they have everybody as their competitor. So yes, they're doing everything right now, but it doesn't take much to tip it over the perch. But my point was, if you're shorting Amazon here, you're shorting the whole market. There's nothing specific to Amazon right now in the news that will cause me to say, okay, it's going to 900 all by itself. So is the market going to take another leg down? I'm not sure. But if it does, this one is definitely perched to run as faster downwards than the regular market. So that's how, what worries me about the momos, especially when they're technically vulnerable. I'm not one crying
Okay.
wolf here saying we should head for the door, because it seems like these set of headlines are dying out all by themselves. And this morning, I think I saw a headline, something about Mitch McConnell saying we're definitely going to raise the debt ceiling. So that's pretty comforting, because that was going to be another variable down the line from politicians.
Nick, do you pay any attention, like, to the Jackson Hole conference is going on, and I guess Auntie Jeanette is out there, other dignitaries? Do you keep an ear out for that, or you just watch the reaction, or is this something just not any interest to you?
No, we have to keep an ear out for that, especially for Janet Yellen perspective, because she is in control, and Wall Street believe then what Janet says it will happen. And most importantly, that I think we're not talking about is the anti-QE, which is the asset, the balance sheet of the Fed. When they did the QE, they invested to grow their balance sheet. They poured money into it, and now they're talking about doing the opposite. So it's anti-QE, and nobody talks about it like that. They all talk about raising rates. I think the opposite of a QE is worse, in my opinion, and we're probably not prepared for it because we haven't seen it happen recently. So I'm not good, the expert on bonds and what happens with when the Fed reduces its balance sheet, but that's a conversation that needs to make the headlines. And if we get experts saying, oh, usually this happens and that happens and this and that are scary things, then this is a different conversation. But yeah, definitely you have to listen to what she says.
All right. Boy, everyone wants your opinion on Salesforce ahead of earnings. CRM. Nick, this stock has been a nice runner up near all-time highs. Wow, bunch of monthly highs here, right in the all-time high, right at 92.49. We are only 6 cents away from that, Nick. Any take on CRM?
I think last time I checked, they were pricing in 450 or something like that move on. It was from the options. I'm speaking from memory here. I see a support level ish around 86 or a level of interest. So if it does fall to there, it is a level that will be in contention, meaning bulls and bears will want to win it over, because it was resistance up to recently, and then they busted through it and used it as support several times. So it's only natural. So 86, 84 is a zone that should be bulletproof. So if I'm selling puts, I'd be lower than that for sure. I can do it September, October, puts or put spreads. As far as chasing it higher, I'm not one to chase at all-time highs. If something is near or at all-time highs, I'd say, you know what, I missed it. I'll wait for a dip. It's the PE, like I mentioned earlier, is over 450. Also speaking from memory, but the CEO is really slick, and he's been selling us a story, and we've been buying it forever. And he's going to be on Kramer, his buddy, and so they're going to defend whatever bad story they have. So dips will probably be bought, provided the stock market in general will hold up.
Speaking of PEs, Flack UK is talking about the airlines, and he says they all have nice PEs. What are your thoughts here? Let's go through, because these airlines have been hit, like Southwest Air, which obviously Warren Buffett owns a lot of. LUV, there's Delta, there's UAL. They all kind of look similar. I own some SAVE just because I thought it got too cheap in my long-term investment portfolio. What are your thoughts on the airlines?
I'm long a couple, the JetBlue and UALV. I've sold puts, so I'm comfortable being long them on the dip. They are technically vulnerable. I just posted the IYT in general, which kind of valuations is not crazy. They have been hit hard, but they've also had a lot of swings. If you look at the weekly charts. And they're on the lower end of the what you call a regression channel, what I call a simple regression channel. So just from that perspective, again, if the stock markets are going to nowhere and not going to crash, then I'm comfortable taking a few longs from here to see what happens, especially in ones that are quality. I mean, these are I've flown recently, and everything you have to pay for now. I mean, you book your ticket and suddenly you find out you have to pay to book your seat too. It's like, that's a new trend that apparently everybody accepted and moved on. PE 10 on JetBlue. I mean, that's trailing 12 months. If I end up owning it from selling puts, I'm not making a massive mistake when it's valuation this low. So I'm comfortable trying to catch a few knives.
Nick, I got to ask you about Priceline here. And this stock, I mean, it's looking like it wants to hold 1,800. I think it took it out a little bit yesterday. I think you were gone during the earnings debacle here. Is there enough support in here at this $1,800 level for you to perhaps sell some puts, or not enough stabilization yet for you?
Well, you can sell puts. I mean, you can sell puts under 1,600 and collect $30. So each put will give you, $3,000 in potential premium income.
How much do you have to put up for that? Yeah, how much do you have to put
Probably 10, 12,000 per leg. As far as I think you're asking about margin. And if you are, that's probably it. Also speaking from memory. So you can do it as put spread and collect about, $1.30 on a $10 wide spread. So the yield is pretty attractive from a yield perspective percentage. So people buy a stock and they're happy when it rallies 5-6%, 7-8%. Well, here's a spread that you can sell that bring you to over 10% in yield, and with a price buffer of 10-15% below. So the stock can still fall 15% and you're still making full profit. Whereas when you buy a stock, you put all your money at risk right now with no buffer whatsoever.
All right, Nick, just one more for you, and it's been bouncing around pretty good since its report. Apple, any thoughts on Apple?
I will say what I always say on Apple. The company is amazing as far as a money-making machine, but it's still an iPhone company. Tim Cook convinces us that he's doing all the right things. I am convinced that he's not the right guy for it. However, he does have a great machine. So I can't short Apple, especially that now let's put it this way. If I sell puts in Apple, I've got people defending my position for me. And the biggest one of them is Buffett. So I'm comfortable being selling puts behind Buffett's buying power. And I think from his 13 Fs, he added to his position. So if he defended IBM, which was a crappy stock and a crappy company, I'm sure he will defend a great money-making machine like Apple. I have no reason to short it. I would rather short something that's actually in danger, like Netflix, for example, but not Apple, because it sells out of everything they make. So hide the name, hide the product. You don't want to short the price. A company with that set of variables at play. Having said that, they need to come up. I mean, they have all the tools. They have, everything they need in order to get the next big thing, so to speak. And I haven't seen it. I mean, they have so much potential. Hopefully they'll live up to it because it's a great company so far. So don't short it and go long it on dips.
155. That was the earning, since they had the earnings gap up, say at 155 a couple times. So yeah, as long as it holds 155, I like it to the upside. Below 155, say hello to 150, but you're going to need a market correction for that to happen.
More to that point, 155 has gotten 3 pokes, right? Just recently. And then also look further back, and there's one important candle. It's on somewhere around 6.9, 6.10 when we had that big tizzy. It had a huge red candle with huge volume from that point. So it's definitely a point of contention, and it's definitely important. So what happens there? Plus, there's a gap a little bit open, if I see that correctly. So yeah. If you're long it, you have to be a little worried, but it's not going to crash all by itself without a headline or the market itself.
Nick Shaheen, option expert and the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. Nick joins us every Tuesday at 8:35 Eastern, 5:35 Pacific. Thanks a lot, Nick. We'll talk to you again next week.
Absolutely.
All right, S&P futures tried to make a new high of the day, turned back a little bit at 24.36, now trading at 24.33.75. Dennis, in balance look.
Same. It's such like Groundhog Day around here. Square is a buy and bounce every single day. And it's got a buy and bounce again. SQ, 139,000 shares. That's a pesky trend. Alibaba, we talk about it every day buy and bounce. 53,000 shares to buy here again this morning. Stock trading up $1.35 in the pre-market here. Going over and looking at General Electric for its sell and balance. Yes, it is. Sell and balance on G. Only 90,000 shares though, so I'm not sure that's going to knock it down today. Is actually trading up still 8 cents here in the pre-market, moving with the overall market. Some of your defensive stocks like your Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Colas, those got sell and balances because you got the TLT trading down pretty significantly. Sometimes those defensive stocks do move with that. J&J 49,000 to sell, Coke 53,000 to sell. Sprint S 222,000 to buy in the Sprint. That's of note as well. I always like to look at Snap too. SNAP 54,000 to buy. The Snapster. What do you think here? You know, it's got the pop, it's got the drop yesterday. Wild range. It was over a point range for a $14 stock yesterday. Trying to figure out whether it wants to go up, whether it wants to go down. Joel, tell us about Snap.
5-day winning streak was snapped yesterday. That took it,
good one.
Yeah, that took it from its all-time closing low of 1183 up to 1459. Did not hold those gains, closed at 1358, getting a little bump here in the pre-market. Keeping an eye on $14 after trading up to 1459 and then as low as 1335. You have the high close of the rebound at 1401. We're 18 cents away from there. So that's my number. Closed back above 14, and that was just a one-day blip. If not major, and I talk about major support, down at the double bottom from Friday and Monday, 1326 and 1335.
Brad DE wants to know, is Tiffany immune to Amazon? I don't know if it is or not, but I guess if you're buying your diamond ring, maybe you want to go and actually see it in the physical store. So I don't know if that's the case, but TIF has actually held up better than some of the other retailers. I mean, you look out at a monthly, it's done pretty well. I mean, all-time high up there, $110. We're only at 87, where other retailers are off 50, 60, 70% from the highs. This isn't off nearly as much. So maybe it is a little more Amazon proof than some of the other stocks. TIF thoughts as they are going to have earnings coming up tomorrow.
Oh, well, anything can happen with the earnings report. But as you can see, you had a break. I'm not sure what took it down off that 96. Was that a downgrade or something? Or was that in the market?
Was that was probably earnings, last earnings report. You're looking
July?
at 94 to 84?
Nah,
Oh, July.
Yeah.
No, I was looking at the May move.
You know what? Let me see if I see anything. Well, it wasn't really a crash. It was more of just a slow decline off the highs. But anyways, I like just under 87 here. I think that you see that you had a daily low at 685. And then before you had that big run up, you had a low at 87. So I like that. I'd use that as an intermediary stop. If not, you could be definitely looking at the 84 level, 84.15. That represents the low of that little decline that you had off the March highs. Dennis, we got about 3.5 minutes here. Are there any other stocks you'd like to highlight?
Black UK wants to know the DXY, which is the US dollar index. They wanted you to do a technical on that one, Joel. Can you bring up the DXY? Sometimes I have trouble bringing up these.
Yeah, US dollars future spot. And you know what? Let me see if I can bring it up on my.
One thing that's interesting is the DXY. Sometimes what I will say is if the market starts to go into serious downturn, sometimes actually, and this is the US markets I'm telling you, sometimes the US dollar will actually show a lift. So we've paused. Like the DXY has been in a significant downtrend here all year. I mean, we started the year up at 102, down at 93. That's a big down move for the dollar. It's been weakening against so many different currencies here. But if we stop going up on the stocks and they start getting, a little more defensive and they start saying, oh, let's throw some money in the bonds, that actually does help the US dollars. And if interest rates started to go up, obviously that can help your currency as well because you have that carry trade where traders are coming from one country to another, obviously jumping and chasing yield. It looks like it's trying to bottom to me in the 92.50 or a buck off of it right now. I don't mind the U.S. dollar here. I think if the market goes, if the equities start to rally here again, they'll make new highs. I think the dollar start to collapse again. So dollar is inversely related to the equities performance.
All right, let me see.
At least right now.
I'm scrambling here to find on TradeStation here the U.S. dollar. I'm getting close.
DXY doesn't work for you?
No, I tried it on the. I tried it.
The problem with some of these indexes, they have different symbols on different platforms.
You know what? The Merck doesn't even have. What would be the inverse of that? You think, Dennis? That would be man, oh man, I can't find a Canadian dollar. No, I'll have to look up that symbol later. I just want to mention one stock before we go, and it's a perennial dog, and a perennial dog I've been trying to buy. Look at this Twitter chart, Dennis. Holy,
I want to buy it too right now. I was looking at it. I'm like, I want to actually. I like the chart on this.
I do too.
I just look at it and I see it worth $12 billion, and I'm like, it's still worth so much money. I look at it. This is why I can't do it. I look at Viacom, which is a media giant that's got a PE, of 7 and a valuation of 11.7 billion. And then I look at Twitter, and maybe this is what I was doing wrong with the Tesla Ford before, but I look at Twitter and I see 11.89 billion. Twitter is worth more than Viacom. I mean, Viacom's a media giant. Now, is the world changing? Is Twitter going to eventually make more money than Viacom? I don't know, man. That's why I like the chart here. I think as a trade, I'm very interested. As an investment in Twitter here, you got to cut out if it cuts.
Exactly. I'm just looking at this long, sleepy consolidation period, and I'm nibbling it a little bit. I think I went out to September on these, so I'm giving myself a little time. I'd really like to see it clear 1650. I mean, that would be I've seen this had training ranges before. It looks like it could persist even longer, but above 1650, I think you get back some of those losses from earnings. So 859.30 here, Spencer. What's up next?
Well, we're going to stay on for a couple more minutes. I'm going to get a couple of my colleagues on with me. One of them is Jason Raznick, CEO of Benzinga. The other is Nicole Lapointe. She is our events director. I'm doing so because we are announcing a couple of new speakers at the Benzinga FinTech Summit, September 28th. I've been talking about it now for weeks on the show in San Francisco. It's at Broadway Studios, and I'm going to get Jason on and Nicole with me on. Nicole, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Nicole's with me, and then we're going to get Raz on. Raz, you here?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to do my best to fill Joel Elkanen's seat, but I know I will not do it justice.
Okay, so why don't you tell me who the new speakers are that we just announced at the event?
Sure. We have Keith from DocuSign. Keith Kretsch he is the board chair for DocuSign. We're really excited about that. We also have a new VC panel with Gene Munster and Tess Hatch from Bessemer. And we also have the CTO from IBM Watson.
And,
nice.
And in that VC panel, we may have some guest appearances by famous Dixon Dolly from DCM Capital Management, probably one of the most successful venture capitalists in the world. Up front, you guys, you're in the room, you'll be able to interact with these venture capitalists up front, up close, pitch them your idea, et cetera, et cetera. It's on September 28th in San Fran, the Benzinga FinTech Summit, bzsummit.com for short.
You go there now and put in the account or the discount code BZVIP, all caps, you will get a special pre-market prep rate for $297.
Nice. Very nice. All right, all you people listening in our chat and elsewhere on YouTube, BZVIP is the code there. And also, I think didn't we also announce Ron Suber would be there, right?
Yes.
From Prosper, or he's the former CEO of Prosper.
Yep.
And Chris Larson as well.
Chris Larson
from Ripple.
Yep.
Yeah, Ripple, which is like one of these big blockchain companies. He actually founded eLoan, and he was the founder of Prosper, or co-founder originally. So, I mean, we have a crazy lineup of people. You'll have financial tools like Riskalyze. What are some of the other ones, Nicole?
Yeah, Collective 2, Trade Ideas is doing a demo. We have Ursa Space, who is doing a demo.
What is Ursa? They're the data satellite
They're the
company?
satellite company with the oil fields in China, right?
Yes.
Okay. Great. I met them at the Benzinga FinTech Awards, and some of these people have been on our show before. So I want to stress that Collective too. Rod Casilli's been on the show before. Other people as well. So if you want to, meet these people in person, this will be a chance to do that. Any final words, guys? Yeah,
I mean, listen to the pre-market prep, because daily they're going to have a different exhibitor or demo on the show as well, so you can hear them, hear what they do. But meet these people, look for your alternative trading ideas. You're going to see data that hedge funds use. We're giving you access to, stuff that only hedge funds had once had access to. Nicole and her team, you could reach them at events@benzinga.com with any questions, exhibiting, demoing. It's events@benzinga.com, and just address it to Nicole. It's September 28th. It's going to be awesome. hugely interactive. A lot of big names, like, I mean, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. You ever wanted to see what that guy's like in person or pitch him? Here's your chance. Don't pass it up. Just come on in, and tickets are affordable. Most of events like this that we're putting on are usually like $1,200 or $1,300 ticket. We have a different philosophy. We want to keep it affordable so people can get access to it and also make the networking great. So we hope to see you there.
And the original the ticket price is actually $447. So you guys are getting a huge discount at $297 rate with BZ VIP.
And BZ Summit, again, is the URL for the Benzinga FinTech Summit. Jason, Nicole, thank you both so much for hopping on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That is it for us today. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back with you folks tomorrow. But until then, have a good rest of your day and good luck out there.